Hi there. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks.
Hello there, my name is James Maynard, otherwise known as Sweet Baby James. I'm handling the chat tonight, so please do chat with us. And Beth will talk to you directly in person if you're here in person.
Live. You're always here in person, but are you here live in person?
So welcome to Lighting the Way, Granny Raps and Rocks.
And tonight's exciting topic is ambition or self-protection. And is there another alternative? So I'm going to be talking about what ambition is, what is self-protection, how they connect to each other, and is there an alternative? So you stick around because I think a lot of us need to talk about this. Think about it and get some guidance around it. And in the meantime, I have a mad dog who's scratching on the carpet if you hear anything in the background. Hello, Charlie. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Charlie. And we already have a hello from someone.
Tracy says hello and sends an icon of caring.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you, Tracy. It's good to see you. We so appreciate it when our listeners and viewers tune in and let us know that they're there, and then makes us feel like we're not alone with this. And I'm going to move this camera over just a little bit to get James more in the picture. Okay.
I like the sound of
Charlie,
that.
please. Charlie, please. Okay. So, you know, it's not easy to make decisions, especially big ones, about our lives. It can be very jangling to the nerves, and we don't want to make a mistake. By the way, I know that last time I talked about something and I said maybe I'll pick it up again this week, but I didn't. This is the topic for the week, and we have Charlie, relax, honey. Yes.
We have another comment. Robbie says hello, namaste. Today, Kirati Festival. Happy Ubali Sakela to all Kirati peoples.
Oh,
Thank you, Robbie.
wonderful. Robbie is
Enjoy
from
the festival.
Nepal, and he usually says he's in Kathmandu, but I guess he is wherever the karate festival is.
It's something somewhere in Nepal.
All right. We assume that, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. And he sent a namaste sign.
Namaste.
Nice to see you too. So when we have to make a decision, it can be pretty nerve-wracking. And one of the questions that I find that I have to ask myself is, am I making this choice because it's the right choice, or am I being driven by ambition? Ambition! Ambition!
Ambition.
Ambition! Now, some people think ambition is great. We'll talk about that in a minute. I define ambition, or my inner guidance was, what ambition is anything that you put before your own needs. So you're saying, okay,
We see that a lot in our society, where people work endless hours in order to pursue their ambitions. At the
exactly,
expense of their health and well-being.
exactly. That's exactly the point. And
Amy is here and says, hi, Beth and James. Thank you for this most helpful topic.
thank you, thank you.
And Todd is here and says, great topic. And he
Thank
says, caring as
you.
well. Thank you, Todd.
We appreciate it very much, really. So, as James just said, when we're doing something out of our ambition, we're ignoring our real needs and going for the ego need. Oh, how am I going to look? Or am I going to make more money? And it doesn't matter if I have a heart attack or hernia. I mean, how many things have we done? Think about it for yourself. How many things have you done out of ambition? Now, ambition doesn't always look the same. For example, you could say, oh yeah, I know what ambition is. It's that guy who's trying to get the job have the top job and make the top money and all of that. Actually, that isn't always the case. There are other forms of ambition. There is spiritual ambition, emotional ambition, social ambition, financial ambition. There's a million different kinds of ambition. And for instance, let's say you're a person who cares deeply about society, global warming, and all the other crazy, terrible things that are happening in the world today, and you want to go out there and you want to change it. And you hurt yourself, you fling yourself off a tall building in order to bring some interest to the topic. Now, would you say that that is putting something before your own needs? Maybe, unless maybe you're trying to get rid of yourself and you want to make it look like it's for a noble cause, so you're really committing suicide because you can't face this world anymore and you want to consider it noble. So there is, but other than that, it is ambition. And I have been very ambitious in that kind of way. I never cared about my health, my well-being, whether I was going to get beaten up or whether I could do anything. I just made myself do it because I thought it was the right thing. And I never thought that was ambition, because ambition is for those nasty people.
Greedy people.
Greedy people. Now you can say, well, how can you call that ambition when it is for the good of the planet? Well, I'll tell you something. You can do a great thing for a very sick reason. You're trying to look important to yourself or others. You're compensating for low self-esteem. You're trying to get your father's attention. You're doing all kinds of things, but you're not actually doing the thing for the reason you think you're doing it. See, you're being driven by ambition. And I will give you a perfect example that we are going through right now, which is, okay, now the dogs, and now the female dog is humping the male dog. So, Lily, could you stop, please? Thank you, dear. They're very distressed by this topic. So we have decided that we are going to move to the coast because of my health, let's say. It's more than that, but let's say it's that. So that seems pretty straightforward, right? So today I had this fabulous experience with a bunch of students that I helped in their improvisations.
At a university in a piano class.
Yes. And it was amazing. I mean, the kids were fabulous. I was able to intervene with them. We were able to get into very deep things about why they're blocked. You know, that issues that have to do with their very being and their childhood. And I mean, there were a few tears and everything, and it was just wonderful. Well, we walked out of there, and I said, I don't want to move. I don't want to move. Immediately,
You wanted to do more.
I wanted to do more. I wanted to do more of that. And even if it meant that my health was going to be in the sewer, that, my dear friends, is ambition. I put it before my own needs. Now, okay, you say, well, what should you be? A selfish pig instead? Self-protective? We have another comment, James.
Oh, Karen says, good topic. Good to be here.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
Glad to see you.
And
Thanks for
yes,
the heart of love.
it's good to see you too. So what I'm saying is like, okay, there are a lot of things. I want to do racing, car racing, and I put my life in danger all the time. Well, why is that? I have an ambition to look like the fastest dude on the block or something like that. That is ambition, friends. You're not just doing your motorcycle of your car, for the experience of having your hair waving in the breeze. You're doing it for a purpose, like to look good, to look hot, to look powerful,
To be a winner.
to be a winner. Ba 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 ba. So you see, that's a different kind of ambition, but that is ambition, and people frequently get hurt because their ambition to be the top or the fastest or something is so great that they can't even stop and say, "Am I crazy?" You know. So you see, there's ambition. Now you can say, well, okay, well, what do you want me to do? Be a wuss? Not do anything? Now the dog is tearing apart. This is totally not like them. I don't know what's going on, but they're
rambunctious.
They're rambunctious in the show, and they're not usually like that. Okay. So it seems like the opposite of ambition is self-protection. I don't want to go out there and demonstrate against something horrible or speak up about something terrible, going back to the initial kind of thing where you okay, we have a comment here before I move on.
Oh, Muhammad says, ambition should be to serve humanity.
Well, you can serve humanity without ambition, and that is the very point that I'm making. So the other side, because now you're being driven and you're not paying attention to your needs. Now the other side of it is all I pay attention to is me. Oh, I might jeopardize my career if I speak up. Just because there's genocide happening in the office, that doesn't mean that I should say anything, because I might get in trouble, right? And that's too terrible. No, I can't get in trouble. No. Okay, so now we have the opposite, self-protection. I'm not going to stand up to an abuser. I suspect that my husband is molesting our son, and I don't want to say anything because it could mess up my life, right? So that's self-protection. Well, that's the opposite of ambition, because with ambition, you don't pay any attention to what you need. You just go off. It's like, I'm going to be a hero. I'm sorry, I'm keep putting my arm in front of your face. It's so rude. So I'm going to be a hero. I'm going to save humanity. I'm going to be a so, or now it's like, no, I can't do it because I might get hurt. Now, I had an experience of that today, too. You can't wait to find out what it is. So then I started thinking, oh, I love living here because I loved these kids, and there's possibilities that I might be able to work with them again. Oh, my ambition to be a great healer or to be able to help humanity was up again. And so, I don't want to move. So I think, okay, but then there's a part of me that's saying, I really need to move. And it looks like it's taking care of myself, but it isn't. What it is that I'm afraid to make a phone call to find out if there is more that I can do around this school. And they've rejected me many times, and I don't want to experience rejection. I guess I have to give you a little more detail. I went into a class of a very lovely woman, and 2 consecutive months, and I started working with them around improvisation and unblocking our inner beings so that we can improvise. But I have been rejected over and over and over by the establishment, right? They don't want to hear from me because I improvise or because I don't have the credentials they want to see, whatever it is. So now I'm thinking, no, I should really leave. Now, what was my motivation for I want to leave is I didn't want to suffer another rejection. See? Okay.
Self-protection.
Yes.
Muhammad has another comment. Ambition should be the second thing for us to meet our needs, but it is not always so.
Ambition should be the second thing for us to meet. I'm sorry, I'm not following that, Muhammad. So I apologize.
But there's something the first that should be there to meet our needs, and this is second. I don't know. I'm not sure what he's saying.
Well, maybe he's saying we need to meet our needs through ambition. I'm not sure. Let him explain it. Okay. So, but we're happy to hear from you. So in this case, it looks like I'm taking care of myself, but I'm actually running away from something that could be potentially painful. So I am protecting myself under the guise of taking care of my needs. Am I confusing the
That
heck
sounds
out of
right.
you?
Yeah, that's clear.
Okay. So you see, it's not that simple because we have to really understand our motivations. Okay, so now I said to myself, well, I don't want to stay where we live out of my ambition, even even if it means sacrificing my health. And I don't want to move away out of the fear that I'm going to be rejected. I don't like this choice, and it's the same for you. If you're afraid to do the right thing, if you're afraid to speak up, if you're afraid to help people because you're afraid that it's going to hurt you, you might want to take a look at that. That is self-protection. Well, you say, okay, well, if I shouldn't be ambitious, and by the way, I know that a lot of people say, oh, my daughter has met this wonderful man. He's very ambitious. And he's going to put food on the table and he's going to be a great father and all of that. No, really ambitious men are not great fathers because they're busy putting their egos on the table, right? They're trying to get ahead and they ignore their children. Sorry. Or they go into some field that they're not suited to, trying to look a certain way because they want to look important or something, and they're not doing a good job because they're not suited for what they're doing. So that isn't helping either. So you see, ambition can get in the way of our doing the right thing in so many different ways, but so can self-protection. Okay, we got that? Have I been clear enough?
Very clear, very clear.
Okay, thank you. Now, what is the alternative? I asked the question, is there an alternative? Well, of course, there is an alternative. And it's called well-being. Now, what the heck does that mean? I'll tell you in a minute. Okay.
Oh, Muhammad, I saved a drowning child, but at the cost of my life. What does it mean, madam?
Well, evidently you did not save a drowning child at the cost of your life, or you wouldn't be talking to me. But
Maybe he's throwing up an example.
But you're saying, well, there are times when you're going to do that, and I'm going to address that right now. But you don't do it out of ambition. You don't do it because you're trying to look like a hero, or you don't do it because you're trying to impress your girlfriend, or you don't do it for any of those reasons. You do it because it is part of your well-being. And I actually think that that's what you mean, Muhammad, but we'll see in a moment. Now, what gives us well-being? Well-being comes out of us being true to ourselves. Well-being comes out of being integrated, being in alignment with who we are and what we are supposed to do and what we feel we should do. That gives us a sense of well-being. Obviously, there are many other things. Well-being comes from eating well, taking care of our bodies. You don't get well-being if you are trying to save the world and you're eating potato chips all day long. You don't, and I was the kind of person, because I was a social activist up the wazoo, and I didn't take care of my body at all. That did not give me well-being, and it didn't give me emotional well-being either. But you say, yeah, but you were trying to save the world. Well, I didn't succeed, did I?
No,
the world
exactly.
is not exactly saved anyway.
We have another comment, this time from YouTube.
All right.
Jeffrey gives a 2 fingers up victory sign.
Ooh.
And piano keys. and a big smile.
All right. Thank
Thank you,
you, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
It is so happy. We are so happy to see you on YouTube. We live stream. I'm so glad you said that. We are live streaming on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So you can catch us in either place and put your chat in. As Jeffrey did, you click on live chat if you're there and just make your comment. So well-being comes out of a wholeness. Self-protection comes out of fear. Ambition comes out of a drive to prove yourself. None of them have anything to do with well-being. You can do the very same thing for different reasons. And what the universe has told me is that it doesn't matter what you do. What matters is why you do it. So if you're, let's say, running an organization to save children, but it's coming out of your ambition to look like a great guy, you're going to go out there and you're going to be fundraising, and it's going to reek of ego. You know, haven't you ever met anybody who is doing good things, but you can feel like repelled by them because you see them prancing around, making themselves look great? Okay, what is your response? You can feel it. You know the motive, and you're not going to be attracted to that.
Ambition to look good.
Ambition to look
By
good.
the way, Jeffrey Boyle says thanks and gives another victory.
All right,
Thank you,
Jeffrey.
Jeffrey. And Jeffrey, if you like the show, please give us a thumbs up.
Yeah. And there's another comment on
Oh, yes.
Facebook.
Mohammed says, should our ambitions be high, dear madam?
Our ambition, we shouldn't have ambition. We get rid of ambition. You don't have to be high, you don't have to be low, you need to be you. So your behavior needs to come out of you in an honest, sincere way, which gives you a sense of well-being. Believe me, I have been there. I know people because I was so active for so many years in so many movements. Political, social, spiritual, the big puff. And in the end, you get messed up on the inside and it doesn't really work. What we need is to focus on my well-being. First of all, I have to be here. Now, if you feel like your life is about doing something, you may not want to jump in the lake or drown because you may need to be here. And that's a very painful decision, and I hope that most of us don't have to make that choice. But I think probably if I could swim, I would try. I wouldn't deliberately drown myself, though, but I would certainly try to save a child. But that wouldn't be out of ambition. That would be because I feel a connection.
Another comment from Mohammed. Should there be no measure of our ambitions, madam?
There should be no ambition.
Therefore, no measure.
No ambition. None. It's not necessarily. We all need to be guided by a higher consciousness, an awareness, a feeling of this is my job, I need to do it. But we also have another comment before we...
Marcia says, hi, Beth.
Hi there, Marcia.
Hello, Marcia.
I hope
Welcome.
you didn't just come in. If so, maybe you better rewind to hear what we're talking about. But when we are not self-protective and when we are not ambitious, we are neutral. Is this my job or is it not? If I am trying to save the world to make myself look like an important person, that is not my job. If I am running away from speaking up because I'm afraid, then I am not living up to my potential. I need to become neutral, and I need to be guided for what is for the highest good of all, and that will include me. it must include me. It could be a spiritual well-being. I may do something that's hard or scary or lands me in jail or something like that. But I will feel good on the inside because I will feel whole. Then I am taking into consideration my own well-being. It will be for my highest good.
We have another comment. Marcia adds, learning to be ready to be a doer. You are so right.
That is right. And in order to be ready to be a doer, you need to be neutral.
Yep.
You need to be clear so that you can be guided to doing what you are supposed to do, what is for the highest good of all, and not flattering yourself into thinking, oh, I'm so important. And I mean, I have been there. You know, when I first started hearing the inner voice and I became very, very intuitive, well, I immediately thought that my job was to save the world. I used to think my job was to save the world, which is why I was in the political social movement. Then it became my job was to save the world out of the, in the spiritual movement, right? And whatever it is, no, that's not neutral. That's ego. To be perfectly honest, that is ego. And at the same time, I'm sure in many ways, I didn't know how to protect myself. If I was trying to save somebody and they were trying to shoot me in the foot, I wasn't neutral enough to see whether or not they actually were open to what I was offering them because I was too busy being this important person. I had to be the healer. So that was my ambition getting in the way of my recognizing that this person absolutely did not want what I had to offer. So do you understand what I'm saying now? That you can't just have some kind of a rule that says, well, you do the noble thing. Well, what is the noble thing? Get neutral. Ask for guidance. I think we have more.
Comment from Muhammad. Self-protection should be sacrificed for our ambitions to help others when they seem to put us at jeopardy. Madam?
No. Well-being is always the guide. Self-protect. Sometimes we have to protect ourselves. Okay, let's say a bear is coming, towards me.
Yeah.
I think that in that case, self-protection comes first. Now, if I have my dog there, I probably am going to try to save my dog. Right? But I'm not doing that in order to look like a great guy. I'm doing that because I feel a connection to that dog. But there might be a time that the universe will say to me, you can't do that. You have to let it go. Sometimes we have to let go of trying to save something we love because it isn't the right thing to do. But if we're not neutral, we will never hear that message because we will be too busy trying to prove something about ourselves. So it is an attitude of neutrality. It is caring about the highest good of all. Sometimes people have to suffer the consequences of what they're doing, and we aren't supposed to save them because they need those consequences. So who am I to go in there and try to save them from those consequences, right?
Right.
But if my ego is involved, like it's my daughter, that nobody will think I'm a great mother if my child is, if I have to save them, then we're not acting out of a good motive. We're still coming out of the ambition of ego. I hope I'm getting across my message here. We don't have to be ambitious. Everyone needs to reach their potential. We need to do what is right for us and for the highest good of all. That is what we measure things by, if you want to use the word measure. Typically, I don't like the word measure. And self-protection may be the right thing to do at a certain situation, but it isn't because we are self-protective, but because in that moment, we realize that that is what we're being guided to do. I remember as a young woman, I would have done anything to end the war in Vietnam. Anything. And I did everything I could because I was so opposed to that war. And I didn't care that they were coming after me with horses and, clubbing everybody and all of that. And I felt so passionate about what I was doing. And that's okay. So sometimes I will face fear, and I turned out I got lucky. You know what I mean? I could have been killed a dozen times, and I really applaud people who do things for the right reasons and take risks and take the consequences, but not if it is coming from a desire to look like a saint or look like a great person or satisfy anything. You've got to keep in mind your own need, and your need is well-being, and well-being comes from the integration of all the aspects of yourself. I have spiritual well-being to worry about. I've got physical well-being to worry about. I have all kinds of well-being to worry about, but I don't worry about it. I just go in and check in on what I'm supposed to do and have a feeling of love for myself and do what is for my highest good, not for what will necessarily protect me or make me look great. And I know, James. So we are, ego should be set
Muhammad
aside.
says ego should be set aside.
Exactly,
Yes.
Muhammad, and that is
Yes.
my point. And most of us, when we're caught up in ego, in self-protection, we are in our egos. When we're caught up in ambition, we are in our egos. We are trying to be something or look a certain way or protect ourselves. That's all ego. What we're talking about is connecting to the whole, the highest good of all. And that must include us. So I have to wrap this up because we are out of time. If you like this show on Facebook, please like it or love it and share it with people. It's really important. People don't hear this kind of stuff every day. So and leave your comment if you're watching later. And if you're on YouTube, we really would appreciate it if you give us a thumbs up, and if you subscribe to our channel and click the notification button, so the bell, so that you will be notified when we're on. And on Facebook, please follow our page. So I've got to go. I've enjoyed being with you tonight. I hope that this was clear enough that you could take away something for yourself. So when you are facing a decision, ask yourself, am I sacrificing my needs here for ambition, like I'm trying to make it get ahead or look like a certain way? Or am I really secretly trying to protect myself? Or am I really coming from a centered place, being very neutral and asking for guidance?
And Karen says, very helpful, thank you. And she sends hearts of love. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Love you. See you tomorrow night, 7:00 p.m. Pacific time. We are doing music.
Magical improv.
Magical improvs. I play the piano and James sings. And that's 7 p.m. Thursday night, Pacific time.
Pacific time.
And next Wednesday, come back for Lighting the Way, Granny Raps and Rocks at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday. And you never know what I'm going to talk about next. Okay. Thank you
for
for
coming.
coming.
So glad to have you with us. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.